Hello students, good morning. How are you? Hope you're all fine and safe at home. Let's start today's class. Chapter How do plants propagate? Children, do you like flowers? Yes, of course. We all like flowers because flowers are very beautiful and pleasant to see. Flowers have petals in different shapes, colors and sizes. Their sweet smell and color attract bees and butterflies. Flowers has so many functions. In most plants, reproduction is done through flowers. So, today we are going to learn about vegetative propagation by flowers. Before that, let's go through the parts of a flower. In flowering plants, reproduction occurs in flowers. There are several important parts in a flower that help in reproduction. Now listen to the parts of flower. This green color part is called sepal. The role of the sepal is to protect the bud before it blossoms into a flower. This part is called style. The style connects the stigma to the ovary. The style ovary are female part. The female part of the plant is called the pistil. Stigma is also a female part and stigma lies at the top of the pistil and it receives pollen grains. The tube that connects the stigma is called the style. Next, anther. Anther is covered in pollen and pollen grains are produced in anther. The male parts of the flower are the anthers and the filament. Together they are known as stamen. The petals are the brightest part of the flower. They are usually large and colorful. The job of the petals is to attract insects to the flower. Inside the flower lie the male and female parts of the flower. These are the main parts of the flower: stigma, anther, petal, sepal, ovary. Pollen grains are received in stigma and the pollen grains are produced in anther, and the colorful part is called petal. Then the sepal cover the bud and in ovary the ovules develop into fruit. Where are the seeds developed? Flowers use pollen to make seeds through a process called pollination. What is pollination? Now we are going to learn about pollination. See, the tiny little particles are pollen grains produced by anther. And what does the pollen grains do? The pollen grains helps these flowers to reproduce and give birth to baby plants. Many times insects sit on flowers and carry these pollen grains to the stigma. Stigma is the sticky surface on top of the pistil. Pollen grains land on stigma, germinate and form pollen tubes. At the end of pollen tube is the pollen tip which reaches the ovary and fertilizes the egg. When these pollen grains fuse with the ovules of the flower, a seed is formed, which later grows up to become a healthy plant. Petals attract insects and are usually the reason what we love flowers. So what is pollination? The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma is called pollination. Now we are going to learn about ways of pollination in different plants. Pollen can't move by itself. So, how will it get to the pistil? It is through pollinators. Children, do you recognize this well-known pollinator? Very good, that is honeybee. Pollinators are pollen helpers by moving the pollen to the pistil so the flower can make seeds. Let's look at some other pollinators. Yes, this is butterfly. Then hummingbirds are also pollinators. Other pollinators include wasps, moths, ants, beetles, wind, water, animals, etc. So now let's revise. Today we learned about parts of a flower: stigma, anther, petal, sepal, ovary. Then pollination. The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma is called pollination. Activity time. Children, take a flower, separate its parts and stick the parts on a paper. Recognize the parts and write the names of each parts. Thank you.